Well, hi, I'm Michael, and I'm here because I did something really, really stupid. I bought some insanely expensive headphones, like about $8,000 worth, maybe $7,000, $8,000 worth of headphones because I got curious and I wanted to know which of these headphones sounded the best. So my dumbass experiment has cost me a lot of money, and I hope you can go down below and subscribe and hit the like button, because maybe I can recoup some of this down the road. We're here to talk about the Tia, the 64 audio headphones. And I'm going to tell you the little story about how I got involved with 64 audio and why I started this insane idea. Stuff's falling all over the place. And it was these the 64 audio Tia Fourtes. Okay. So I was going through CanJam. It was the year that the Orpheus 2, the HE1, the new Sennheiser, the electrostats that they rebuilt and did like $54,000 headphone. Insane. And so I wanted to go to CanJam and listen to those, and I did, and they sounded like $20,000 headphones, maybe not 54, but they were great. They were really impressive. And I was going through the floors. I was about to leave, and I sat down at the 64 audio. I remember Jude saying the 64 audio exhibit is one you shouldn't miss. So I'm like, okay, I got to go see this. And I sat down and I put these the Tia Fourtes in. And I'd never heard anything like it before. I mean, my reference pair were like, I have this, and I still wear them. These are Klipsch. You can't even get these anymore. They don't make the Klipsch anymore. They sound really good for a consumer pair, and they'll run you about $500. I don't know what they're running on the used market, but I had those, and I have a pair of Customs somewhere around here. I don't know where they're at. They're around here somewhere. But they were the reference reference in-ears that Capitol Records engineers supposedly sat down and powwowed and came up with this tuning that's complete garbage. It's the most mid-rangey garbage thing you've ever heard, but I bought into it and bought these headphones because I'm a big dumb guy. I do dumb things. Anyway, so I turned these on, and these instantly became for me like an end game type of headphone. So fast forward to COVID, and I'm not going to spend $3,500 on a pair of headphones. However, I was zipping on eBay because I've been selling a lot of stuff because it's COVID, and I'm like, clean out the house, get all this crap out of here. And I came across a pair of Tia Fourtes, and they were under $2,000. And I'm like, well, this is a $3,500, $3,600 headphone. I'm going to try it because I haven't spent enough time with it, but I remember, even today, that experience. And you know how you get that? Maybe you've done it. You have that one headphone that really made an impact on you. And I mean, it was a show environment. I was sitting on the floor, so who knows how good they really are. So I bought them, and I got them home, and I started listening to them. And I noticed that the mid-range was a little on the strange side. I couldn't figure out what was happening. And then my Chord Hugo died. Because that's what always happened. It was the weekend, and I just spit. The weekend that I got these in, my Chord Hugo died. So I found a used Chord Hugo. So this review that was at $7,000 got a whole bunch more expensive after the Hugo died, because I bought a Hugo too. And then I upgraded my player, which was an AK240, which was this is I don't know, 8 years old or something. And I bought the SP1000, which came way down in price. I found one used, but look at this thing. It's just I'll do a review on this maybe if anybody's watching, because nobody probably is. I'll do a review on this someday, because this thing is amazing. I mean, the sound jump. Anyway, not going to get us through this review, so let's move on. And the mid-range was kind of strange to me. So I was thinking, is there something I'm missing. So I did the dumbest thing you do when you're questioning yourself and questioning your purchase. And am I going insane? I watched YouTube and Zeos. You know Zeos. Zeos wears the GoPro on his head when he does all the reviews. I have no confidence to do that here. I'd be banging into stuff constantly. But Zeos did the review of the Forte, and he called them. He said they're kind of average. He goes, they're smooth. They'll make your head sound smooth. So I'm like, well, they were smooth, I guess, but I didn't. But he was raving about these U12Ts. And I'm like, all right. So I went on eBay and thought maybe I just get a set of U12Ts and then I can do a comparison and hear what he's hearing. And maybe that'll make sense to me and I can decide which of these two I prefer. But I couldn't find these. They weren't for sale anywhere, but these are 3,000. I can't keep a straight face. These are $3,000. Now, I found them on sale, too. I got these under $2,000, so that's a good deal, but it's still it's a shit ton of money. So I'm stupid. So anyway, so I'm like, all right, well, I'll do a review and I'll sell them because I'm going to be able to get at least $1,800 out of them, so I'm not going to be really out in money. But it's just the dumbest thing. So then, like, a couple of days go by and the 12s come up. And I'm like, all right, well, we'll buy the 12s too. And now I've got 3 sets of headphones here. I call this propensity to do this stuff the big dumb guy alert, because I'm a big dumb guy. I do big dumb things in big ways. So I'm sitting on a pile of these things. So let's talk about. I'm going to share with you my opinions in the hopes that you'll click a like or subscribe down below. I'm really having fun. It's been a punch-drunk day after a long day of writing. But okay, so I'm going to start with what came in after I got the Fortes were these, and this is the U18 Tzar. It's like a. It's not Russian or anything, but they're the 64 Audio, good company, by the way. But they make the worst cable on the face of the. This is a $3,000 headphone cable. What are you thinking? This is awful. This is awful. I hear there are guys raving about how this sounds, and I'm like, how can you get them untangled just to hear something out of them? This is not $3,000, 64 Audio. Get with the program. All right, so I put in these, and I have a really nice cable. This is an Octa Leonidas from Effect Audio, and this is a gorgeous cable. It sounds fantastic, and you can put anything on this, it's going to sound good. And I'm not a big cable guy myself, but this is like jewelry. It's just gorgeous, and it complements the copper quite nicely, I think. Anyway, these were insanely detailed, and I put them in, and I thought, wow, like the details all there, but there's a mid-range punch on these. The detail on the, you have 18 drivers in here, like sending information at your brain. So there's a lot of information for your brain to decode. And looking at it, I thought, I was listening to them, this mid-range, like right around 3K, and I don't know, I don't read charts and I don't read the squiggly lines and all that stuff. That I leave that for other people to do. I can just tell you what I hear. And what I heard on this is a mid-range bump or presence that hits a really uncomfortable tone in my ear. So if it's anything that's mid-rangey, super high male voices, female voices, it's like it's a frequency that just grates on me a little bit. And not all songs are in there, and on the songs that don't hit that note, these sound fantastic. But there are a lot of songs do hit that note. It's really cool. Look at this. They come with these little guys here, these things that they pull out. Can you? I don't have one focus on this camera. and they're really neat, but they're totally useless because there's a 15 dB cut and a 20 dB cut. That's what these two little, they give you two of these guys, and man, the 20 dB cut gives you a lot of bass, but it sounds awful. It's like it's a very bloated bass. It's a very boomy bass, and you lose all the detail that this guy brings you. Anyway, so that was into this, and then I put in the U12ts, which are the silver guys, and these go for just only $2,000. Every time I start talking money, this cracks me up. These are only $2,000, and I got these again. I buy a lot of stuff used, so but still, $2,000. Okay, so this. It's not a ring. It's not a watch. It's a headphone. And it's not made of gold. It's aluminium. If you took this headphone and you removed a little bit of the detail, just took it down just like 90 to 95% of the detail of this one, or maybe 90%, just shaved a little bit of the detail off and then gave it the best tuning you've ever heard. That's the U12t. And I see why people say that this is the headphone to have. I can honestly understand it. And I would agree with that until I figured out what was going on back home here at the Fortes. And what it comes down to, this is the likeness I came up with that finally described these headphones, and why I think they're quirky and they're unusual, but why they're more expensive and probably the best of the three. And here's a hint. I'm only going to keep one of these headphones. This headphone has insane detail. Now, it's not as punchy or as pinpoint as the U18ts, and maybe even not the U12ts to some degree. But there is detail especially in the upper ranges, extreme insane detail from this 4-driver headphone. But it's the approach that I finally figured out that made me go, oh, that's what I'm hearing, and that's why these are so great. My theory is this: the U18t is intended to be a stage headphone, and it's probably, and I don't know anybody over at 64 Audio, this is my thought though, it's a stage headphone, and it's meant to have a more flat line response and maybe even a little bump in the middle for people who are playing and they need to hear the vocals that are going on, and they need to talk, hear what their bandmates are doing. It's made to kind of hear that out. Why you wouldn't buy a custom, I don't know, but I think these are more intended for people who are going on stage and less intended for audiophiles or people who are listening for pleasure. This has an outstanding tuning, and it shares that same tonal imaging accuracy that the U18 does. And what I say is, this is like the perfect sound out of the studio that you're recording, you'll hear in your ear. This is as if you are standing in the control room as they're laying the tracks down and you're listening to what's coming in. This headphone sounds as if you took your favorite album or your favorite band and you put them in your favorite listening environment, maybe your favorite club, and played it back in that environment on a unbelievably world-class sound system. These give you an experience, and for people who are literal to the recording, if they want the true representation of what was recorded to play back in their ears, these aren't that. This won't get you there. That's what maybe this is for, but even more to a degree, that's what the U12t does. It is faithful, it is conventional, it sounds like every other headphone you've ever heard, but better. This sounds like no other headphone you've ever heard. This will send sound at you in an image from different perspectives around you in a 360 space, but the sound doesn't come in linearly. It sort of just emits and it comes at you, and you get this insane sense of holistic, like a holographic image. Holistic, yeah. We light some incense in between takes. Holographic image. It's a 3D space. I don't really hear stuff coming. Some people say they hear sound coming from behind them. I don't, but I do hear it at the extremes. And I will say, in that imaging sense, I had the U18T in, and somebody hit a drum over here, and I literally turned my head to listen to that drum, to like look for that drum. What was that? And it was just the drum hitting in the ear. It was so realistic and so close. So that's the kind of precision we're talking about with these headphones. And by the way, all of them are fantastic. There's no reason not to buy any of them. I'm giving my opinion, and what I'm going to have to sell off 2 of these because I have to pay the mortgage. But these will give you this 3-dimensional space, and I think I finally figured out why they give you that sound. And the key is in the mids. Now, the mids to me always sounded wonky when I put this on. Like when I first got them, and running them through the Hugo T off of the SP1000 actually cleared up a little bit of that weirdness and sort of brought it back. But what I hear is the vocals on this are recessed. And I think, and if somebody did like a measurement of what these things were playing, you would see around the frequencies that the vocals hit, you're going to see a dip. And the reason you see that dip, it pulls the vocals a little bit out of the mix. And I think what 64 Audio figured out is something we do. I'm a director, and we do a lot of television and visual effects. You can feign something because you know the brain will compensate for it. You can jump ahead 3 frames because the brain will fill in the gaps. If you're cutting an angle, you don't have to be right on the thing because the human brain will figure some of this stuff out for you, and you direct things and you edit things with that in mind. And I think with audio, the sound of somebody's voice is so tuned to your mind that you actually pull it forward. Like when you're in a room where you're trying to hear a conversation and there's a lot of noise going on around you, your brain can focus in and sort of pull that detail by sort of, in a sense, tuning out everything around you. And I think what these do is they recess the voice a little bit into the mix. It's not drastic, but it is noticeable if you pay attention. And your brain pulls everything in, and it sort of warps what you hear a little bit. It warps your perception of what the headphone is playing. And I think it's a trick. I actually think it's a stunt, but it's a stunt that works really well in this particular headphone. So, to sum it up, because I have to conclude this, I can't go on forever. I'm not that bright. I'm going to keep the Forte because as much as I like precision, I don't need precision in an in-ear. If I'm going to be listening for extreme quality, I want even a more neutral headphone than this. And oh, where are they? They're not even around here. They went away for the day. Maybe they're in here. Yeah, they are. These are the Capitol Records tuned that I was talking about earlier. These are super mid-rangey, and they block a ton of sound because they are customs. Like they'll cut 28, 29 dB off of the room noise. So they're really good if you really need to hear something. My cable's really short because my cat bit the end and I had to get it rebuilt. I don't need these. I don't need critical listening in an in-ear. I want to enjoy myself. And the more and more I play these, there's some core tracks, like, you know, it's kind of rote, but Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, which is, you know, obviously it's a track everybody listens to over and over. Macy Gray, her Stripped album, the stuff that happens off to the sides and the way it emits at you, and it puts you in the middle of the music in a way no other headphone ever has. And it's probably what stopped me dead those 3 years ago when I put the Forte in my ear at Can Jam for the first time. And that's why I'm going to keep them. So watch on eBay, because these two are coming your way. And again, if you want me to do more stupid ass dumb things, click the like and subscribe. It's the last time I'll ask. And I'm going to tell you right now, I appreciate you guys watching. And I'm actually going to go on and do some listening tonight and start to enjoy these now that I've kind of figured out what happened. And I hope that explanation works for those of you who have listened to this headphone in the past and maybe thought, there you go.